Wednesday, March 19th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Public policy polling has found that Colorado's support for marijuana legalization has risen since the state legalized in 2012. While Amendment 64 passed by 55% for versus 45% against, a 10-point margin, the latest poll shows support at 57%, with only 35% of the public thinking marijuana should be made illegal again, and that's a 22-point margin. Coloradoans are divided about whether legalization has made the state better, 31%, the same, 30%, or worse, 33%. Or another way to look at it is that only 1/3 of the voters think legalization made things worse. It doesn't seem as if legalization has had a huge impact on use rates, with just 8% of respondents claiming that they've used marijuana since it has been legalized, a figure commensurate with the annual rate of marijuana use in Colorado prior to legalization. A majority of the people polled were over the age of 40. The Utah State Senate unanimously approved a bill to allow for the use of cannabidiol oil by those patients with intractable epilepsy. The bill awaits the signature of the governor, who is expected to make Utah the 21st state to legalize some form of medical cannabis use. The law, called Charlie's Law, comes too late to save its namesake, Little Charlie Nelson, who passed away this week. The cannabis allowed by the law must contain less than 0.3% THC and can contain up to and exceeding 15% CBD. The law makes no provision for patients to acquire the oil, aside from importing it from nearby Colorado, where its production is legal. However, the Utah law, like the Georgia CBD bill passed last week, essentially encourages citizens to migrate to Colorado, establish a temporary address to establish Colorado residency, violate Colorado law by taking medical cannabis out of state, and violate federal interstate trafficking law, all to acquire a medicine that has no psychoactive properties. A Kentucky Senate committee has unanimously passed a bill for the use of cannabidiol oil as well. The newly named Clara Madeline Gilliam Act, SB 245, would allow only physicians at the University of Louisville and the University of Kentucky research hospitals to recommend the use of high CBD, low THC cannabis oil for patients with intractable epilepsy. An Oregon gubernatorial candidate is calling for the legalization of marijuana and using its proceeds to help the homeless. Portland Republican Tim Carr told the Oregonian newspaper he would prefer the tax revenue to be specifically earmarked for the homeless and other people in need, saying, quote, "I don't want that money siphoned off," end quote, to other state funds like employee pensions. Carr's support stands in contrast to the non-committal attitude of the leading Republican candidate, State Representative Dennis Richardson, who stated, quote, "What we have presently with Oregon's medical marijuana cards has failed," end quote, and, quote, "We would be wise to wait a year and watch what takes place in Colorado and Washington. We could learn from their mistakes or their successes," end quote. Incumbent Democratic Governor John Kitzhaber supported legislative efforts to legalize marijuana, saying, quote, "I want to make sure that we have a thoughtful regulatory system. The legislature would be the right place to craft that," end quote. Colorado's governor has signed a new law meant to address some loopholes in marijuana legalization. The new law mandates that the packaging for edible marijuana is sold in opaque, child-proof containers. Other changes included allowing pot shops to confiscate the identification of those attempting to purchase with a fake ID and allowing local jurisdictions to submit fingerprints for the purposes of background checks. 6 face charges following medical marijuana raids in Michigan. This from CBS Detroit. Once it refreshes on my screen. Thank you, CBS. Springfield, Michigan, 6 people have been charged following raids last June on 3 medical marijuana dispensaries in southern Michigan that authorities said were operating illegally. The Calhoun County prosecutor issued warrants Friday in the Springfield raids, and Michigan State Police have begun to make arrests. Chief Assistant Prosecutor Matt Smith said the warrants were issued for employees and owners of the Carmacy, Southwest Compassion Care Center, and Happy Days. Charges include delivery of marijuana and possession with intent to deliver. This has been your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, March 19th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available at 420radio.org online. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines and take a look at Utah, Kentucky, and Georgia and their CBD-only bills. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.